Welcome back to the All About Ability Football Show, everybody. We have a title race to talk about, which is not ideal. Okay, so last time we spoke on this channel, which was a number of months ago now, apologies for that, there was quite the idea that Celtic seemed to be kind of on track to run away with things. That's how it seemed anyway under Beale. And the worst thing that's happened to Celtic season is them sacking Beale, I think. So since they've appointed a new manager, the gaps went from 9 points to level. And I think it's fair to say, Paul, we're definitely in a title race now.
Oh, 100%. We're definitely in the title race. And I think, like, fair play to, I mean, we could call him Philip Clement, but Philippe Clement. Fair play to him. He's come in and he's started to get a tune out of, I think what anybody could see was actually maybe like a sort of decent-ish Rangers side. They've got a decent midfield, but he's come in and he seems to be getting the best out of that squad. So you've got to just, I think, hold your hands up and just be like, do you know what? The guy's come in and he's done what he's set out today. And I think I think it should be more about how are we going to react to this? How are we going to react to this response for Rangers? But we are 100% in a title race.
You know, that's the thing though, is Rangers have had so many managers over the years that have come in and said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and they've all just fell flat in the face because they overpromise and underdeliver. But he has come in and, you know, to his credit, got them to the top of the Europa League group, and now they're right level in points with us, so you have to give credit for that. In terms of how we've responded, I think one of my biggest concerns is just that we just haven't played well consistently at all throughout the season. You know, we've had good games, we did okay during the Champions League where we had good performances, but in terms of a consistent run of good performances in the league, it's not happened. And you know, and you look at the way that we're kind of going from the 4-3-3 to the 4-4-2. Now it feels like, you know, if this was someone else other than Rodgers doing this, people would be like, what is going on here? But because it's Brendan Rodgers, he's kind of getting that bit more leeway in terms of, well, he's a good coach, we can trust that he's a good coach. But I'm not seeing much that says that we're going to pick things up here, to be honest.
Right. I mean, I think like I agree with what you're saying. The performances for Celtic have not been where we would want it to be. We've been severely hampered by injury. We got quite a substantial part of the squad taken away from us because of the Asian Cup. So these things like matter to me. Like, I think that it's no making excuses, or that's real. Like, look at our back four that started at the weekend. You had Scales, Welsh, Bernabe and Ralston. Like, that is a tribute back four to me. That's like a testimonial back four. That back four gives me the fear. Really, like, really. But to have a full back four injured, and also the guys that we've brought in, like the people that we brought in to replace Carol Starfelt, right? We replaced one player with two players. We replaced Carol Starfelt with Naroche and Lagabielka. None of the two of them have worked out. So I think it's been a combination of things that have went really against us. But here's the thing. Here's the positive thing. We're still top of the league. Everything, we had 2 defeats in December. As far as injury-wise, it kind of feels like everything's going against us. Kyogo, our main man's form, hasn't been anywhere near it. And they still can't get above us, which might change this weekend. But see, if you think about it, right, if we can turn the corner, we will blow them away. If we can get people back fit, we can get Hatate back into the team, we can get a bit of momentum. I mean, our last 8 games or 9 games are undefeated, I think. We've had 1 draw in there and the rest of them have been wins. I think that includes a win against Rangers in the 29th. So I've got like a sort of like, I'm with you. I think the same. I'm not happy. I'm a bit pessimistic. sort of thinking about the form, but there's something at the back of my mind here that's like, see if we click, and maybe the 4 whatever we're doing, the 4-2-2-2 like sort of formation, the changing formation that we've seen at the weekend, if that clicks, if the two strikers can click with each other, if we can get a bit of momentum, I think we'll pull away. I've got I'll tell you one thing that really, the bottle within our support is absolutely non-existent. Like, there's so many people that are shitting the bed.
Guilty.
They're shitting the bed with us. They don't want the possibility of Rangers winning a title. It is driving them psychologically like mental. That's been combined with the fact that we're not playing well. But I think when Rodgers came out at the weekend and him and Neil Lennon were talking, and they were like, the support need to calm down. The support need to get behind this team. We need to realise that, like it or not, we're in a title race, and it's probably going to go to like maybe the last couple of weekends, and just accept that. Just accept that we didn't have a good transfer window in January. We didn't bring in the players that we wanted, and back the team, and hopefully we can get through this season and still take a league title. But we need to have bottle for it.
Yeah.
That's Rodgers, the squad, and the support need to literally grow a set of balls and just go, do you know what, we're going to go head to head, because this isn't a great Rangers team, mate. Like, I think Michael Beale's record for his first 15 games is better than Philippe Clement's. They've not been met with adversity. Like, they're scoring last minute goals in the Europa League. They're scraping through games against, you know, teams in the Scottish Premier League as well. So it's not like they're going out and they're, you know, playing like Guardiola's Barcelona or anything like that. Like, they are profiting for the fact that our form has been bad, and that we dropped the points, you know, like over the course of 60 days to have 2 defeats and a draw for Celtic or Rangers. It's not good enough. It really isn't good enough. So I'm hoping that we can click into gear, get into this vital time. And, you know, I reminded a mate the other day that under Stratton, we weren't going out and winning games and playing beautiful football, but we won. We won 2-1, we won 1-0, and we won titles. So I'm hoping that we can get through this year and we can see the back of what's been an absolutely horrific season for Celtic in multiple facets.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with everything you said. And I think, you know, the main one from a supporter's point of view, just when you talk about that bottle, and you're right though, because you never win a title, you never win a league title if the fans aren't on board with the team and the players. Like, that needs to be in sync for us to actually go over the line. That's how these things always work. But I think that one of the bigger, you know, when we talk about, because I'm totally with you, like, I believe that Celtic's strongest 11 is stronger than Rangers' strongest 11. But the issue then becomes, you know, we're in the crunch point of the season, and we've got key players like Carter Vickers and Hatate who just can't quite seem to keep fit. Like, I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but they're in and they're out, and they're not quite getting that run of games.
Yeah.
And you go, so then it becomes a question of, is our depth strong enough to win the league? You know, because they've not really had many injury problems just now. They seem to have a fully fit squad. We've kind of got, you know, I think it's fair to say there's a lack of quality on the wings. There's, you know, you saw guys like Turnbull, who were always guys that, you know, albeit he was never going to be the main guy, he was somebody that could come in a league game and score a goal and win us a game every now and again. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Somebody you could rely on to do a job. So you're selling guys like that, and so you kind of wonder, do we have the depth? Because like you say, realistically, if the likes of Carter Vickers doesn't quite get that run, and, you know, the new guys don't work out, is a back four of Scales, Welsh, Ralston and Bernabei going to win your league title? Do you know what I mean? So I think we're now at the stage where there's a real possibility where, you know, those guys being fit in that run, because those guys aren't fit, doesn't quite happen.
And comes too late, maybe.
Yeah, it comes a bit too late, and that's where the fear's kicking in. But I do think that, you know, I don't think they're going to win every game from now to the end of the season, right? It's just a question of, are the guys that we've got that are going to be in for the people that are injured for the time being going to be good enough to scrape those results? And to their credit, you know, I know we didn't win against Aberdeen, but the thing that was important for me is we could have lost it. We didn't. We got a point, and then we went and beat Hibs. You know, so those are games that we didn't play well in. But the Hibs game, for example, it's just like get the 3 points, and it was not a good performance. We didn't play well, but we got the 3 points. And like you say, all that, you know, until you get guys like Carter Vickers and Tati and people like that back in the team, that's all that really matters at this point. And you've got to imagine that Kyogo at some point is going to kind of click into gear a bit more.
He looked better at the weekend, I thought.
He did. The finish against the Vin was top class. And you're kind of hoping that that's a sign of, like, could this be him coming on to that game? But there's just, like, under Ange, I always felt, like, look back under the actual quality of the squad and when we've got a better squad depth than them. And there's just a bit more quality. I don't think that's as obvious this time around when you look at what we've got compared to what they've got. We've not got a Jota or a Tai that are playing in the team fully fit.
Yeah.
So I think the teams in terms of quality level are more level than they have been over the last couple of years. And the difference could be a Carter Vickers been out for not getting back in the team, or a Tai or Kyogo not hitting that form. For me, it kind of relies more on if Kyogo in terms of that quality.
Yeah, because I think, like, the problem for me very recently is we're not scoring enough goals. I think, like, the way that's been playing out in games is a mentality thing. Like Aberdeen, right? We score an offside goal. Right? Goal was offside. I'm not whatever, but everybody can see if that hits the back of the net and we go one up that early on, we'll probably be comfortable. We probably, you know, we would go 2-0 up. No, because we equalised, didn't we? We hit the bar, and so it's like this sort of. There's a lot of negativity around Celtic, and it gets taken really, like, kind of out of context. It gets taken into this sort of disaster, you know, like we're in a disaster. Like we spoke earlier on in the season about if Rodgers hits the skids, he's in trouble because there's an element of the Celtic support that don't want him there. And we've seen that. There's guys that are coming out. There's guys that are coming out for Lawwell. There's guys that are coming out for the board. They're blaming players. They're, you know, like this one and that one. They're looking for somewhere to blame. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that, right? And you pay your money and you've got a right to your opinion. But see, when you actually look at the season in context as a whole, there is very little that has went our way as far as, like, the squad. And you asked a question of, like, why can guys like Hatate and Carter Vickers no maintain fitness? We're rushing them back, and that's because we don't have the strength, because we don't have the depth, and that is a problem and a fault at the board. And I think that's right to point the finger at the people that are in charge and being like, this has been negligent. Like, you didn't sign the players in the summer that we needed. You didn't sign the players in January that we needed. But it is not doing anybody any good. Booing misplaced passes with players that are lacking confidence. Getting on top of guys that need you to support them. Like, if we do that, and as a support we continue to do that, we will lose this league. Because, like you said, you need the synchronicity. That's what came together in Angie's first season. People started to believe.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, Brendan Rodgers' number one job right now, is to get that team to turn the corner and get the people that pay to put their bums in the seats at Celtic Park to start to believe that we can win this title. And see if they do that, I think we will do it, because, like you said, we are stronger, even though we have downsized over the course of this season and we have let some quality players go and not replace them. I still believe we're a better team, and I think that we'll probably, you know, I'm hoping for like 2 Glasgow Derby wins before the end of the season, and if we can scrape through every other game 2-1 and 1-0, I don't really care, you know. And we're not going to. There's not going to be an asterisk next to the title on Wikipedia saying they didn't play well, but because, like I said, like under Stratton, we didn't play well. The football wasn't attractive, but we still ground out the results and won games. And you know, sometimes we were looking at a back four of like McManus, Caldwell, Paul Telfer and Lee Naylor. And you could probably rightly go back then and look at their back four with Carlos Cuellar and, you know, their midfield with Barry Ferguson and Lee McCulloch, and go, how do we win a title with this? We ground it out, we were together. And I think a lot of that was down to sort of Stratton and his mentality and how he kept it. So that's the way that I'm sort of seeing the way. I'm hoping that we can turn the corner. But when I say that, every week I'm watching the game and we got to turn the corner the day, and it's like 15 minutes in and you're like, oh, it's the same stuff. We're passing it slowly. We've had no shots on target. We've had tunnels of the ball, and so I can understand why there is a sort of negative slant, but we need to get behind this team.
You're 100% spot on, mate, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. I think that, you know, there's a lot of ways it can go, but when you talk about that belief, I think, if I'm being honest, the belief is gathering at the other side of the city. You know, Rangers fans are starting to believe like, hey, we may actually have a chance of getting this year, and I think they have every right to think that. So at the very least, it's going to be interesting. There's probably going to be a few heart-thumping moments between now and the end of the season, but that's what football's all about, isn't it? It's what makes it fun.
Yeah, we can't win leagues by 15, 20 points every year and it be done by February. It just isn't like that. And there's a narrative coming for the other side of the city that there hasn't been a proper title challenge against Celtic, and well, he's won a title 3 seasons ago, so I don't know about that, like questioning our ability to come back. And then under Ange, at this exact point, we were only a point ahead at this exact point in Ange's first season. So I would be saying to them, don't get too ahead of yourself. And I think that, again, another sort of positive that I'm taking is they have had 2 opportunities to go tap and they've bottled it both times. Don't care what they say about the other night, oh, well, we're level and blah, blah, blah. If they blew the whistle on it right now, we'd be champions. So you're no joint top on anything. You're second on goals scored. And if it ends like that, we will win it. But it will be a devastating blow if they have this good a run and we still win the league and we don't play that well.
Exactly. There's a lot on the line as well with the new Champions League format and stuff.
There's so much on the line.
But these are all things I think we'll dive on into as we go on and put more uploads on the channel and stuff. Plenty more things to talk about with Celtic long term in the summer. What people are thinking about Rodgers and how that transfer window and everything all kind of unfolded in certain situations with players as well. So I think we've got plenty of things to talk about, and we'll get more into that as we go on. Just before we kind of wrap up here, I do want to just touch on the craziness of the appointment at Aberdeen with Neil Warnock. I couldn't believe that, mate. It was like, are we living in a different universe? Like, what is this about?
The Twilight Zone,
mate. Honestly, but you know what? By the way, I've loved watching his interviews. He's an enjoyable guy to listen to. He has good insight, and you know, it's a bit outside the box from Aberdeen, but I'm shocked at what's happened to them, because I would have thought before the ball was kicked, I was convinced that they were going to be third easy just by the squad they had. So you do kind of wonder what's been up there, but I think kind of, you know, to their credit, the likes of Barry Robson and managers like that, it just hasn't quite worked for them since McInnes has left. And you know, at least Neil Warnock is going to put on a show for you. You've seen that with the Aberdeen Motherwell game, 3 each.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think Aberdeen Motherwell 3-0 up or something like that at one point. Neil Warnock, like, there's a couple of things that I've thought about it. I've found it very patronising, the way that he's sort of like, I'm up here for a laugh. Like, who do you like? Really? Like, what? You know, that's that sort of way. Like, how many Premier League titles have you won, mate? Like, it sort of feels like he's like, I'm up here for a wee jolly. Oh, Aberdeen need a manager, I'll jump up and do a job. Like, it hasn't felt very serious. I suppose he isn't a very serious character overall, but I've found the whole sort of thing about it quite sort of like almost degrading and patronising of Scottish football. I don't like him as a character. I think, like, he's very old school. He's a dinosaur. He's a football dinosaur to me, and I think guys like that have had their day. And I think it's a placeholder at the end of the season, really, for Aberdeen. I don't see it going any further than that. But mate, his attitude towards, you know, reminiscing about watching Rangers on the day that Aberdeen are playing Rangers and stuff like that, I'm like, no man, this is serious business, and Aberdeen don't like Rangers and Aberdeen don't like Celtic, so talking about how great institutions and stuff, I don't know, it didn't sit well with me. It really did not sit well with me. I think he'll do a job. He's
Yeah.
a big personality. I think he will absolutely. I think he'll get them through to the end of the season. Like, I think it, but I don't know, man. It feels a bit sort of like WWE to me, like a sort of storyline, and and it hasn't been taken very seriously, and it's been very much kind of like, I mean, looking at it in Sky Sports, like a bit of a joke, and I don't really like that. On what the Barry Robson thing, I mean, the style of football that they were playing was absolutely horrific. There was no tactics, man. They were launching the ball up at that striker. It was terrible. Like, and again, it was an old way that's been figured out. And I think when you combine that with European football and you don't have the squad to cope with a Sunday, Thursday at that point of the season, I just think it just got too much for them, and just felt like it was heading to a bit of a disaster for them. So I think they actually get rid of him at the right time.
I completely agree with everything you said there. I think he does come across like but there's a lack of respect for how big a club Aberdeen actually are. Do you know what I mean? Aberdeen are huge.
Huge.
One of the biggest in Scotland. Like, they're probably easily number 3, I would say. To be honest.
They've won a European trophy.
Yeah.
They produced Alex Ferguson as a manager. Gordon Stratton, like, you could rhyme off Willie Miller, Alex McLeish, like so many legendary players, Charlie Nicholas, and it's like, I just thought I'd come up and do a wee job for 6 months and and I again, I'm not going to harp on about it, but I've found it quite, I don't know, I've found it kind of like distasteful.
Yeah, no, I would agree, but I think it's at least it'll be interesting to watch. You know what I mean? And hopefully, hopefully we can get clubs like Aberdeen actually getting along. I mean, what's ironic about it is there's one manager in the league doing really well with a lower budget and a lower team, and it's Derek McInnes. So, so it's a classic case of be careful what you wish for, Aberdeen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For years they were like, oh, we don't like his style of playing that, but consistently getting you third, consistently getting you to cup finals, and all of a sudden he's there with Kilmarnock, fourth, fighting for third, and you're languishing near the bottom of the table. Football can kind of has a cruel way of showing you that you should have appreciated what you had when you had it.
Yeah, 100%.
But I'm just saying, if I was an Aberdeen fan, Derek McInnes doesn't look too bad right now, is it?
Imagine.
But listen, thank you for tuning in. We're going to do more videos going forward, and we have. I'm wanting to be more consistent and bring you more content. We've got plenty more to talk about from now to the end of the season. So if you've enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. We're getting closing in on 1,000. So please do support the channel, and we're going to be coming back more consistently. So thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon.